Good day, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Whole Woman Television Show. I am excited about today because I have an amazing woman joining me who will be talking to us about so many things because she's a woman that's been around for a while and she has a lot to bring to the table. I am excited about this show. We'll take a commercial break and we'll be right back after these messages.
You always going so fast, burning it up. You got you running like that, right past what you want. So do like I do, and move like I move. Feel that magic down in your shoes. That's why I'm walking like this. That's why I'm walking like this. Yeah. You always moving so fast, breaking your neck. You've been running so far, but you ain't got there yet. So do what I do.
This is gonna suck. Biore charcoal cleansers suck out 2 times more dirt, oil, and impurities. That's why Biore charcoal sucks. Better. Biore. Free your pores.
Hi, everyone, and we're back. Joining me on the show today is Mrs. S. Ali McIntosh, and she is, see, like I say all the time, I have these women and these persons on the show who have so many titles and so much accomplishments that if I dare to try to say who they are, I would get lost in the scheme of things. That's why when I send out the video, I try to explain to people who they are, so when they get here, they'll have a good clue about who I'm interviewing. Ali, you and I have known each other for what, about 20 years or more?
A long time.
A long time. You don't want to say details, right?
Yes.
It is so good to have you with me today.
Good to be here. It's a wonderful pleasure on a Tuesday just to be, I'm usually doing my own show, The Servant Leader Speaks on today, but the producer says we're going to give all the energy to the Whole Woman's Network show today. So
the servant leader still gets to speak today.
Yeah, true, and it's good. It's always good. I tell them once we keep moving, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good thing. One of the things that I love about you is that you're not someone that has just jumped into the limelight or into what you're doing. You've been around for a while and you've made your presence felt through many different arenas. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you would have done, because like we were talking about off screen, I didn't know that you were a journalist. I thought you were an attorney for a long period of time. So let's talk about some of the things that you've done over the years.
It's amazing. And so thank you so much for being able to come on your show today. As you say, most people, even journalists, even reporters, not reporters, attorneys, think I'm an attorney. I call myself a constitutionalist because I have studied the Constitution. I read it, I've read it, and I try my best to stay as close as possible to what it says. But I am a journalist. I am a broadcaster. First, a journalist, though. I was a writer. I was a writer before I became a broadcaster, and so I call that my first career.
That's great. You know, the thing about us is, I think because usually when you're a writer, you're kind of gifted, so you have a lot of gifts and you have a lot of things that you want to get out of you, like books and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So that's not a bad thing at all.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, we have a big ballpark. Let's talk a little bit about. I know you've done a lot of stuff in the community and in the country regarding women. Let's talk a little bit about some of those things and why you feel so passionate about things related to women and young girls.
Wow. Well, I guess continuing from my full life, I have been involved throughout my life, actually, with church, with organizations. And so coming to the theme of working in terms of women and girls, it actually started somewhere around, while operate the National Committee for Youth Renewal and Revival. That was the beginning of my work for young people, and that work for young people included girls. Girls of any age. We work for young people anywhere up to, I guess, all the way into the early 30s. But we started in terms of children in their school age, and we had done several programs, a girls' club. We have worked with organizations that work with children, with girls specifically, boys specifically. But then in 2004, I met Patricia Morley, Patricia Morley, who was the president at that time of the National Organizations of Women's Association. And at that point, we began even more to just narrow the work for girls and for women particularly, because the National Organizations of Women's Association was very particular of all the work it did. It was actually the organization that was formed out of the women's suffrage movement. And so they worked specifically for legislation that would improve the life and bring equality for women and girls throughout the country. And so I began at that point working with women and girls. And during that time, we attended many UN conferences. In 2005, I think it was the first time the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women actually had the Commission for Women and Girls. We were there. It was a landmark conference. All of the most important women in the world were at that conference at the UN, including Hillary Clinton, all of the television reporters. We were able to be there. We took a student there from C.R. Walker, and it was a powerful discussion. And so throughout these last, I guess, at least a decade now, and some, we have been involved with those discussions, and I've been involved with looking at legislation and bringing advice and advocacy in those regards.
How important is it, you think, for young girls now to come to understand who they are? What are some of the things that has been like taught to the young women that you've been working with in the past? What are some of the things that have been like that they've tried to educate them about?
I think the primary thing when you're working with young girls and young women is the idea of mentoring, the idea of them identifying themselves, who they are. It is important because in the National Committee for Youth Renewal and Revival, we probably will go back there when we talk about some of the things I've done over my lifetime. But the National Committee for Youth Renewal and Revival is an organization I founded in 1995. And in that program, we were very big on the idea of socialization of young children. And so the socialization of young children comes all the way to the point of young women and young men knowing who they are. If people do not know who they are, it's going to be a difficulty for them to achieve some of the things in their life if they do not go forward confidently in the fact that I am who I am, I'm proud of who I am, and I'm going to achieve what it is I want to do. Yes.
I want to stick a pin right there because you said something powerful, and you said that if it's important, it's powerful for them to know who they are, mainly because, like you said, they won't be able to achieve because they don't know who they are to walk in what it is they were created for. But also, I say all the time, if you don't know who you are, someone will ascribe to you who you are, and that's where the trouble comes in. So so it's of vital importance for young women and young men as well. Because here at the Whole Woman, I do a disclaimer: we love men. We don't discriminate against men. But it is a show that is geared towards women, because as women we need the men, and God knows we need them to come to a standard that makes them whole so that they could be whole for us,
Yes.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about as women, because it's important, the Bible says for the older women to train the younger women. How important do you think that is, and what are some of the things that you've mentored women about and what's happening through the United Nations and where we're going in terms of what women are being taught and educated about?
What I realize is what I can say, just the body of women in the Bahamas is a very strong strong thing here. We have just started, in addition to NOAB, which is the National Organizations of Women's Association, we have Women United, which is a new organization, but it works in conjunction. Of course, we have the Department of Gender in the country, the Department of Gender led by Dr. Higgs, and all of these issues relating to women is kind of almost bringing women in a circle of sisterhood in order to push the idea forward. Now, as you said, we are very much, we love men, the leadership of men, but the strength of the sisterhood of women helps us to become stronger as to who we are and to achieve the things that we can. As we go forward, we always have to be part of pushing, mentoring young women to become strong. When a community, when women are improved and pushed, the community is improved and pushed. When women prosper, the community prosper. So we cannot have women who do not feel strong enough to achieve the things or that they want to be able to grow up their children and give them the confidence of going out into the world and becoming what they are. So a lot of what is happening and the achievements in the world has to depend on the strength of women and the confidence of women to do what they are. That does not negate and dispel the leadership of men in the world and their leadership at home, but it means the person who is in the home, if his wife is denigrated, if she feels less than herself, she is not going to be the kind of woman to push the family forward.
Yes.
So that is important. And I'm hoping I answered your question in regards to what it is you think we need to do.
You were right on point. One of the things my company's called the Whole Woman, and men, when they hear that name, they always say to me, "Oh, y'all always doing things for women." But I say to them, because they think it's a form of, when you say woman, they see it as a form of women coming against men. But I try to explain to them all the time. One of the things that I do here at the Whole Woman, I believe that if you're not whole as a woman, you're not able to play the part that you're meant to play for others. You have to be whole, just like you said. You have to be whole in your own right to be able to be a better mother, better lover, better father, better wife, better friend, better sister, better mother. If you're not whole, you're broken, and you can't work and you can't maneuver and do the things you're meant to do. So it's of vital importance, like you said, for us as women to come to understand who we are. And again, once we're doing that, we're able to help to prop up the men better and to be what we're meant to hold their hands and hold their hands up when they're standing up as the Moses, and who will help to hold their hands up in every area of their lives.
What I realize, Regina, is this: if something is broken, you have a problem. You need to find some glue and stick it back together. So we have to look at the same thing when it comes to how women are operating. And so when men are considering that, oh, you always want to talk about women, but the push to put women in the confidence level that they are has very little to do with trying to overpower men. It has to do with making sure we are whole and in one piece. Because when we're broken, it's very little we can do. So we have to be whole in order to push forward the agenda that the world needs at this time.
And not only that, one of the things that I often say is that because irrespective of how you look at it or how you want to negate what you want to negate, women are the ones in this country that carry the load when it comes to children. We're the ones that have to be strong because we have to guide our children through, and like you said, help to bring them into their knowledge of who they are, to be the persons that they're meant to be in society. Because if we're broken, we have a society of broken young people now, because you have a lot of broken women from the past that didn't know who they were, didn't understand what their purpose was. The main thing I think for us as women is to come to understand what our purpose is. And once we come to understand that and we start walking in our purpose, it would help us to become whole so that we can now teach our children how to walk in their purpose and become what they're meant to be. That's how I feel about it.
I believe that, and I do hear an echo, but you can let me know how that is working if it's going. Yeah. But what I find is women are a key to all of the things that happen in the world. And why we're key is because we provide that undergirding of society. And we have to be very careful. I mean, and I'm saying that because even in my pursuit of the in the early years of the socialization of children. I got a lot of feedback and pushback from men in society when I was really only thinking about how do we properly socialize children? How do we bring them to a point? I think it's Frederick Douglass said that it is easier to bring up children than try to now fix broken men or broken
Adults.
adults.
Yes.
So when I started my work early in my life, it was about socialization. I was brought up by a very powerful woman called Jane Hopeful White, McIntosh White. Powerful. She brought up 6 wonderful daughters. And she actually, what I love to say about my mother is my mother went back to school. We never thought that she had the what do you call it, 6th, 8th grade education that she did. But she went back to school at 65, got a BGCSE,
Wow.
went back to school, got a bachelor's degree and a doctorate at 72.
There you go.
But one thing about my mother, she always taught us that we could be whatever we want to be. And that was not any kind of feminist push, you know. It is that you are who you are and you can achieve what you want if you put your mind to it. And so having
exactly
been right. Such a strong woman, it's very difficult for me not to want to pass on some of this to my society.
I mean, it's almost like if you didn't do that, I think you would need a belt.
I would.
Because especially in our society, that's almost unheard of, because in our society now, I mean, it's a little different now, but back in the day when it was like my mother's time, I don't know how, you know, when you reach 50, they want you to roll over, crawl under the bed and don't come back out as a woman, because they say you're dead at 50. But this generation, I think your generation and my mother's generation started to change that, because they started to speak into their daughters' ears to let them know that you're somebody and you were put here for something. Because with my mother raised 6 children by herself in Freeport, making $50 at one point. And for her to be able to do that, I figured I owed her to be somebody in this world. I don't have no other choice. You understand? Because as women, we have to remember that we stand on the backs of other women that have now fought, generations of Black women that have fought to bring us to where we are right now. And we have to remember that because of that, we have to honor ourselves, live our lives to a standard and be better women because of those things.
Okay, that's great too.
You know, you go ahead.
I do believe I just seem to be having an echo in here, and I just wanted to try.
It's okay. It's okay.
Once we get to the break, I will try to remedy it on my part. But I do believe, as you're saying, and my mother brought us up. I'm not saying that she did by herself, because she had a husband, P. White, which we honor. He was a wonderful teacher, and we were part of that network of him and her, bringing us into a place of productivity. My stepfather, P. White, was a wonderful teacher. Every one of my sisters will tell you his part in our life was paramount, because he was a teacher. Now, my mother was a poet. She was a writer. She was a speaker. She was a pastor. But she gave us strength to become all that we could become. That is something that I believe that a community has to do. Women, and I think you started earlier talking about older women, what we do to younger women, that's our job. In my church, I take that seriously, that the older women are to teach the younger women how to keep themselves, how to be good keepers at home, how to take care of their husbands. Those things are what makes a society a continuous society.
Function. Yes, to continue to function.
We will have disjointed, and I believe that is why we have some issues in society, because we have not passed on to our daughters all of the things that we've learned ourselves.
I agree. We're too busy trying to be in the club and trying to do this and trying to stay young and all this kind of stuff, and chasing things that we don't need to be chasing, instead of instilling in our daughters the things that they need to be able to function. I know we're talking about this topic, and this is passionate for me, because I agree with you that, like you say, you take teaching the young women serious. I have a daughter, and for me, I say this all the time. I pray that I have given her enough that when I'm gone, her and my son, but I pray that I've given them enough that when I'm not here, that they're able to be strong in the generation that's to come, because this world is not going to be pretty in a short while. It's not pretty now.
It's
And
not.
yes. And I tell my daughter, and specifically my daughter, because while I'm a mother, my son is 21. I can't teach him how to be a man, but I try to instill in my daughter, because I say to her, my baby, your back have to be strong in this season, because I'm gonna die and I'm gonna go, and you need to be strong, because now you have my grandchildren, and you ain't raising no weak children around here. Because I raise you weak, so you straighten up your back, and you stand for what you need to stand for. No is no, and you be succinct in what you believe.
Yes.
And people may say, "Oh, that's teaching her to be hard or whatever." But if, as a woman, if you're not strong in our society, you'll be trampled over. And not, go ahead.
I realize, Regina, that the society, the world that we live in is very tough.
Hey.
There's no point of making our children's, I put the word in quotes, sissies, and in that telling them, oh, you are always going to have what you want. You're always going to, people are always going to tell you, yes, it's not going to happen.
That's not how it works.
We give them a false hope if we do not tell them that you are going to come into some very tough times. You're going to get places where you're going to have to toughen up. You're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to stand. You're going to have to be persistent. So those things that we must push in our children, so that they would know when they get out there, they will survive. A lot of times we teach our children everything except to survive without us. And we have to do that, because when we die and go, what will our children do if we don't teach them how to survive without us? So all of the socialization of our children is to teach them how to survive, how to travel by themselves if they have to, if they get lost, where to find help. These are things you are not teaching your children. You are covering them, you are pampering them, and they're not going to be able to survive when you are not there.
You are doing them a disservice. And that's the same thing I tell people all the time. You're doing them a disservice, because when you make them think that it's okay to not have to do stuff in the house and not have to answer when you show respect to you and other things, they go in a world and then they can't function and they fail because you have not done what you need to do for them. I as a woman, I think that the responsibility that we bear as women is grave. It's massive. And because we shape the society, the youth and the young people that are coming out in society, we shape those young people, and taking on the responsibility of children is a serious thing. I know that we're talking about women, and you are a woman that has put your name and your face out there in the political arena. We're going to jump over there. This is not a political show. I'm going to state that now. Nobody even dare come for me. I am doing a show with a woman that happens to be in politics and doing what she's doing. She has so many other things going on. Politics is just one aspect of her life. I respect her for who she is and thought she deserved to be on this show. Period. ... Full stop. Let's talk a little bit about your political aspirations. You've ran in 2 elections that I know of. Let's talk a little bit about your political aspirations.
That is an interesting thing, and that came all the way from, I guess, my entire life actually almost led me there. It was really not my intent. I wasn't one of those people who had a dream, that I want to be a prime minister. I didn't have those dreams when I was young. I know that I wanted to do something with my life. I wanted to be out there. I think when I was about 14 or 15, I said I wanted to be an affluent and influential writer. That was my dream. I didn't want to leave the money out.
That's it.
But I wanted to change the world. I know that. I wanted to change the world. So all of the things I did, and we kind of skipped over a part of my life. I was a reporter at the age of 20. I was thrust into politics, actually at the age of 20 as a reporter. So when I got there, I was opened to for the highest level in the land, right? The prime minister at the time was Sir Lyndon Pindling. The cabinet ministers, I was able to go into their office because I worked as a reporter for the Herald, that is the PLP newspaper. And so that gave me access, or at least an opportunity to see politics close up. At that time, I did not wish to stay in that arena because I did believe that what I saw, although the opportunity to help people it would corrupt my young life. As I said, I was only 20 years old, and I did not want to corrupt. I was brought up by a woman who caused you to know how to stand. Even at 20, I walked away. No, I'm not going to be corrupted at this age. So I gone back to work. I went to ZNS as a reporter, but I gone into the radio aspect of it. But I kept everything before me in terms of what's happening in the country and the news. So when I left there and gone into ministry to a great degree in terms of the National Committee for Youth and my church, all of that prepared me as to where I was going. When I started the National Committee for Youth Renewal, I wasn't aware that took me to a place in the nation, what ultimately took me to the politics. And so in 1998, when I was given a vision about the Bahamas Constitution Party, I followed that up by doing what I know how to do. Because the first thing you do when you're a reporter, you're a person who knows how to research, you're going to find out what in the world is this got in front of me. And so I did. And as I pushed forward in terms of finding out about that dream, about that vision for the nation, it brought me face to face with the work of politics and good governance in the country. And that's how I really got involved. The vision is a very long vision. We'll talk about it another time too. But it was a vision that pushed me forward regarding what the nation was supposed to be like, what the intent of governance in the country by the founding fathers, what was the intent of creating a Christian nation, and being a Christian, a minister, a lay preacher, that obviously that drove me to find out how can we serve the nation. And so in the last 10 years alone, and I will say this because we founded the party in 1998, we launched it in 1999, but we did not contest any election until I did contest the North Africa seat in 2002, but we did not until 2012 actually put the party on the map. We did leadership and we ran 2012, 2017. So the last 10 years from 2010 to now has been an entire, decade of politics that has been profoundly interesting. And we continue this. I don't know how longer I'm going to continue this, but I am going towards, me and the team of the Bahamas Constitution Party is going towards leadership in the country. We are seeking the leadership of the nation. We are prepared. We are ready to govern on day one. We have planned. We've prepared over the last 10 to 20 years the leadership, and we are prepared to now govern the nation. And that is where I'm at. It's a landmarking kind of journey, but that's where I'm on. That's the journey I'm on.
Okay, what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to take a break and let you get the opportunity to fix your mic so you're comfortable with it. And I'm going to play a video here from your party that you sent to me. And I'm going to play that video for the viewing audience. And you go ahead. These are just some of the things that S. Ali McIntosh's party is planning to bring to the table. I'm going to do that, and you get the opportunity to fix your microphone at the same time. Okay? We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Cornelius McKinney. I am the Deputy Leader of the Bahamas Constitution Party, the BCP. Imagine the Bahamas producing 80% of its food needs, turning potatoes into potato chips, exporting ketchup, growing grapes, and exporting quality wines, turning corn into corn oil, turning cotton into quality fabrics, taking bamboo plants and making dress shirts, shearing sheep and turning wool into designer suits, turning pineapple skin into leather bags and footwear, Andres alkaline mud into sheetrock, joint compound, and beauty products for export, turning plants into medicine, turning sand into glass, with a 30% reduced energy cost, and safely extracting our natural resources like aragonite and natural gas. Businesses owned by Bahamians, creating jobs for Bahamians. Now stop imagining and start believing. The Bahamas Constitution Party. Hope for Bahamaland.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
Visit our website at www.pcbparty.org.
That is a video from the deputy, one of the deputy leaders
Can you hear
of.
me?
Yeah, I can. I can. Say something again. Let me make sure. You know, one of the things that I always say, everybody who watches my show knows that I tell them once you're doing a show live, it's like shooting crap because you don't know what you can get. So you have to work out all the kinks. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Ali?
I can't hear you.
You can? Okay.
I do.
All right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a break right here and I'm going to help Ali get through, Mrs. McIntosh, I'm sorry, to get her situation together. We're going to take a break right here and we'll be right back.
Testing one, two. Testing one, two. Testing one. Testing one, two. Testing one. I can't hear that.
Hi, and we're back. Can you hear me now, Miss McIntosh?
Yes, I can't hear you. Can you hear me, Claire?
Oh, I can hear you clear as mud.
I am only toying around with these things. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Listen to me. Anybody who watches my show, they know what I stand for. When you are doing a show, you are just you're taking a crapshoot when you're doing a live show, so it's okay, don't worry. People around the
It
world
does
have
happen.
millions of dollars, big old stations and stuff have millions of dollars and they get themselves in all kind of issues as well. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We'll be good. So we were talking about your political life before we were so rudely interrupted by technology. So we're back now, and what we're going to do is one of the things that I think. Let's talk about women in politics and how you feel that that is received in our society. I mean, around the world, because when you look at the Hillary Clinton issue and all that kind of stuff, let's talk about that for a little bit.
Okay. What exactly you want me to focus on? The point is the need for women in politics.
Yeah, how do you feel that they're received, and do you think that it's necessary for us to put ourselves in that arena to see change, or how do you feel about that?
I believe that the need for women, more women in politics, is important. And the reason it is important is because there always need to be a balance in regards to how we do whatever we do. We talked a little earlier about the woman in the home, the woman in the family, and how her need to be whole is going to give a more comfortable and productive fit to the family.
Balance.
So it is when it comes to governance. What it is we've had a boys' game, and that boys' game has given us a lot of what we have now. And we've come to a place where we're almost stuck because we have only one side of the story being told. I believe that more women is needed at the table of governance, that the decision making would be stronger towards the entire society and not just the society about power playing. I'm gonna say something to you that the Lord gave to me in 2017. I have spent the last 17 years writing, putting together a book that's coming out, How to Reconstruct a Nation. And one thing he said to me is, men governed by power and women by order. This is a general concept. It's not that men don't ever consider order, but their basic thrust is about power playing, about getting things done. How am I going to win the next election? But when a woman comes to power, her focus ought to be about order. How does she
Yeah.
put things in place? How do we get this fixed? Take, for instance, if I'm elected, when I'm elected, my first 60 months, I am going to determine, okay, this might be my only 60 months. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to try to fix every single situation that I know can be remedied in that 60 months. I'm not thinking about whether I'm going to be elected the next time. What can I
Mm.
fix now? Even the concept of servant leadership, of which I govern by, which has become the principle of my pursuit in politics, is that we must right every wrong. We
Mm.
must not allow wrong to be done. So
Yes.
if we do not go towards it, and so that's the difference of how women govern versus men. They're always thinking how they're going to win the next election. But our pursuit of power must be about doing it to make things right. And I'm saying that to say all women may not have that concept. They may want to be one part of the boys' club. But what we
Mm.
want is that more women come to the table, so we have decisions made that are balanced across the table for the completion or the production and the betterment of society that will help all of the persons in society, women, children, and men. And
You know,
women see, men probably don't see.
yes. Yeah, one of the things I'm going to say to you in talking, we're talking politics. So I'm going to say this to you because for me, I'm one of those persons, I let everybody come to the table. Everybody come to the table.
Yes.
And then I pray about it. And then I do what I need to do because I do not believe in a party situation where if someone is a PLP candidate and he's a thief or a murderer, and just because he's a party, your party situation, you can vote for him, even though you know he's not the right person. That makes no logical sense to me, especially if you're someone who have children, because the acts that you mark creates the world that they have to live in. And this
Yeah.
is what I want women and men to understand. You can't be selling your votes. You can't be doing nonsense with that because that right there is paramount to what we're living in now. You have
Yes.
to be conscious and cognizant of what the individual candidate is bringing to the table before you make a decision to mark an X. That's what I say. Hear everybody out, listen to what they have to say, make your points, and then you make a decision. Because at the end of the day, I believe that the world we're living in now is the world that we created.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we've created. And so now to change it, we need to start looking at things differently. And as women, we have to understand that if we have children, nieces, nephews, the X we mark is going to create the world that they will live in for the future.
Yeah, that is an important even when we consider where people vote, what they do with their vote. I have heard very many stories of young people who do not care who win the election because they're saying, if you um, if you bring money, I'll vote for you. But
Yeah,
I'm encouraging people, don't do it. Because where you
don't.
have your eggs is going to determine what your future is
Future.
like.
That's it.
I have always said, and this is a phrase I coined, if a man is prepared to buy your vote, or woman, if a man is prepared to buy your vote, be sure he will sell you out. So
Yes.
if he gives you $100 um, for your vote, he doesn't have to come back.
No.
You would have sold it so cheap. If he give you $500, he still don't have to come back. What you should do when you choose to vote is find the candidate or the party that is going to concentrate on the future. How do
Yes.
we develop the future? How do we make opportunities for young people in the country? That's what the Bahamas Constitution Party is about. We have worked, at least from the National Committee for Youth perspective, we worked towards preservation or committed to the preservation of the next generation. That was our theme, committed to the preservation of the next generation. That was carried over in the Bahamas Constitution Party. Because why? If we are going to see a future, if the youth is going to see a future, they are going to have to, has to be created by us who are adults, who are in
Yes.
charge of the leadership and the management of society. And so that is where we must look, and people who are voting must consider, as you say, what is the party, what is politics, what are the leadership of the country doing to make sure that you are secured in 10 years from now, 20 years,
Yes.
even 50 years from now.
Yes. And my thing is for me, like I tell anybody, I have a grandson And the X that I mark now helps to create the world that my grandson will walk into. And we
Yes.
have to be mindful of that. Um, One of the things I want to say to you is because you know politics is politics, and you say you're saying what you're saying in your party. You're talking about your party, but most persons and anybody watching this show would want to know what would make them want to trust you, because we got people say politics is politics and they say what they say all the time, and then when they get there they don't follow through on what it is that they promise. Now this across the board, no individual party person I'm talking about. Now what is it there to make the people watching this, me or anybody else, believe what you're saying and believe that you're going to carry out what it is that you say you and your party want to do?
That is a very important question, Regina, in regards to what people should be looking forward at this point. I think one of the primary things that people should be looking for is leadership.
Mm-hmm.
How is leadership? What they understand about leadership and why they should vote for anyone. The fact that the Bahamas Constitution Party was started based on the preamble of the Constitution, based on the formation of the new Bahamas in 1967 and 1973. When the party was founded, one of the instructions I got in the dream was to go to Sir Lyndon Pindling and exact from him the original intent of the preamble of the Constitution. This was a very important instructions in that once I began to do the research and go to Sir Lyndon, we found out that the country had gone awry from what they intended.
Yes.
So the Bahamas Constitution Party came to the table with the first instance that what we intended to create as a nation in 1967 and 1973 at independence was not what we had in 1998. And so having been mentored by Sir Lyndon Pindling, the father of the nation, and Sir Randall Fox, one of the founding fathers of the nation, we were given the instructions that the nation had gone awry, and in order to get it back to where we need to go, you must follow certain instructions. And those instructions are contained in the preamble of the Constitution, the document that we use to govern the nation. So if you are going to look to choose a party, why you should choose the Bahamas Constitution Party is because we are based on why we were created as a new nation. That's the first thing. The matter of the leadership of the doctrine of the party. The second issue is that you should consider who is going to be leading you. That is important.
Yes. Yes.
When the founders considered leadership, they determined that they would ask the Church of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to partner with them in the governance of the nation. What a lot of people don't know is that every legislation, every policy that is going into effect in the country goes to the Christian Council, or at least the Christian Church. The reason for that is that when they were trying to create a nation, they created on Christian values, spiritual values. Now, people have different ideas of what the word Christian means.
Yes.
But it means it means a righteous stand. So when we talk about righteous governance, we're talking about the idea of doing things right, providing justice, equality, providing for the people a just way of doing things. And that is what the Bahamas Constitution Party is based on. So when we say Christian nation or Christian principle or righteous governance, it is the fact that that is how we will do things. Now, it has taken us a longer time to get where we are because we were not prepared to cheat. We were not prepared to go into places. People have said to me, why didn't you join the PLP? And then when you get there, you could work in no party. I said, that's not how I want to achieve what it is I'm wanting to achieve. We must, based on the principle of servant leadership, that we have determined we will take the time it takes to build a house, and that we will vote for a party because it's a model of what it should be in the nation. And so the second reason of leadership is the fact that we stand on that principle. And the point is we are choosing men and women who are standing on the principle of Christianity, of righteous living, of justice, of fair play, of persons who are prepared to stand and do it right for the community. So we want to talk about what the nation should be. That's in the first instance. The second instance of leadership, the partnership with Christian principles, and then you just determine based on that. When you go to the ballot, you are going to see on that ballot. And I'm going to say something before I say that, is that we in the nation right at this point, we have gone through Dorian, Hurricane Dorian, when Abaco in Grand Bahama has almost been mashed up. We see the resilience of the Bahamian people. They're rebuilding Abaco, they're rebuilding Grand Bahama. And then COVID-19 comes and it has annihilated almost our economy. What we have seen before this is that we have seen governance, even before COVID-19, before Dorian, we have seen governance by successive administrations that believed in borrow and spend. And so they have taken our resources, they have borrowed and spent, and we are now, and we've come to a place where we are, if we don't turn around, we are going to go over the hill, over the cliff, over the waterfall. That's not a good place to be. What the Bahamas Party, I know this is a long answer. We should do is to take the nation 180 degrees. So we don't want to go over the cliff and there is no coming back. We see Jamaica. We've seen what it is to have the Jamaican dollar devalued. We've seen what it is to have the Haitian dollar devalued. We've seen Mexico. Mexico is one of the only countries that actually came back from a devalued dollar. But the Bahamas Constitution Party is committed to the strength of an economy that makes sure Bahamians can prosper. And so the Bahamas Constitution Party wishes to turn the nation 180 degrees when it comes to economic values, spending within the confines of what you make, and creating a diversified economy so that Bahamians can prosper. That is 3 reasons that we want you to vote for us. Not just for a personality called Ali McIntosh or Cornelius McKinney and all of the rest of our board, and they could go online our website and see those people, but because we are prepared to do what is right for the nation. Let me tell you something, Regina. In Freeport, Grand Bahama, and we just want Freeport, Grand Bahama to know the Bahamas Constitution Party got them on lock. For 40 or more years, those machineries, those belts have been running for 40 years, but 24/7, putting calcium carbonate and aragonite out of this country. We have not gained from that. That is a very iniquitous situation that is been by successive governments. They have allowed it to happen. Successive governments. Our thing is that has to be righted. And when that is righted, the Bahamian people will benefit. We have a debt that is so strong that is almost $9 billion, an economy that has shrinked in the last a year, at least 6 months, to more than 15 to 20%. And this economy means that we can be insolvent within the next couple of months, totally insolvent. The Bahamas Constitution Party say turn this ship around. We're prepared to turn it around, go the other way, make sure that the things that have happened in this country by successive administrations to destroy the psyche of the Bahamian people, to make them think they are poor and they have nothing, and turn it around to make sure that the Bahamian people has a country they can be proud of. Our children who have gone off to college can come back to work in this diversified economy, and we who are retiring can be glad to sit in our chairs and know that we are going to be all right. That's the 3 reasons. Right?
Well, the thing about it, and you're so passionate about it, I couldn't even jump in because I talk a lot too, and I couldn't even jump in. But
I'm sorry, I was on a round.
It's okay because I asked the question and you answered the question. What I am going to do though is I'm going to give persons that are watching the show the opportunity, while we have S. Ali McIntosh here, and you know that she's going to be running, contesting and running in the next general election. You can put some questions here that you may have for her, and I will ask her. We'll take some time and she'll get the opportunity to answer some of those questions for you, because I know that she has no problem with that, because like she said, she's running on a platform of what she believes and what she knows. So if you're here and you have a question for Mrs. McIntosh that you'd like to ask her, you can go ahead and do that. I thank you so much for doing that. One of the things that you talked about is you talk about good governance, and you talk about the Constitution. The main reason you're here today that we haven't gotten to yet is your is your institute that you've started. It's called the Josiah Institute. Now you're going to have to come in and explain to our listeners, viewers, what that's about, and tell them how important it is for them to be able to hear and understand what it is that institute is all about. Let's talk about your main purpose for being here and your vision and for the Josiah Institute.
Well, Regina, the Josiah Institute for Leadership and Public Policy is a dream. It has been a dream for the last at least decade and a half. In 2018, we were finally able to realize that dream by the creation of the Josiah Institute for Leadership and Public Policy. I am saying that over the last decade and a half, or at least the last decade, since I think about 2006, 2007, after having done the first white paper in 2001, I did a white paper on the criteria for leadership and good governance. We tried that out in terms of the litmus testing and screening for candidates in the 2002 general election. I think it may have been a 2007 general election. And what we are doing with our candidates, we are doing the litmus testing and screening based on that paper. But the Josiah Institute was formed for the reason for the future of politics, for the future of creating good leaders, for the future of teaching. Go ahead.
You were breaking up a little bit. You're delayed. No, it's okay. You go ahead. I can hear you better now.
Okay, the point of the leadership, the Josiah Institute for Leadership of Good Governance, and our website is thejosiahinstitute.com, is to train leaders for good governance in three instances: persons who are going to political leadership for the leadership of the nation, people who are in the civil service for their performance against corruption in the civil servants, and also for the community to know what it takes to run a nation and how they should be part of it. Part of that also is to teach the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and even for the creation of a new Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So the platform, the Josiah Institute, has several objectives, and those objectives is going to help recreate or restructure the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We call it the reconstruction of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, based on our objectives for new socialization, both in the political arena, both in the social arena, and the general concept of how do we govern a society. And so that is what the Josiah Institute will do. I'm sure our time is limited, but we can come back on another time and talk specifically about it. The reason is because for the future of the nation, the Josiah Institute is expected to go online as an online institute that will teach face-to-face instructions and provide information. Anyone, anywhere in the world will be able to go online, listen to whatever teaching, pay their fees, go online, listen, get their certificate in that regard. So we are preparing in the next couple of months to put the Josiah Institute online, so it can be an institute where people all around the world is going to be able to gain from this information.
That right there is powerful, because one of the things that I feel like our people suffer for in this country is because we do not understand the Constitution and do not in many ways. And one of the things that Daddy Miles tried, Dr. Miles Monroe tried to do, was to help us to understand that we needed to understand what the Constitution is. He always said that as a Christian, as a believer, the Constitution for us in the kingdom that we live in is the Bible. And we have a constitution here on this earth that we're to live by in this country. And we need to come to understand what that is, so we could be able to make wise decisions in the things that we do and not let people take advantage of who we are and what is ours. And I feel like that's yes.
We have a quote. There is a quote that I say all the time when we talk about the Constitution, and it says that the Constitution is not an instrument to restrain the people. It's an instrument to restrain the government, unless they come to take over all our lives and interests. And the point of that
Exactly.
is because when we talk about the rule of law, it is for the government to have a commitment to the rule of law that all.
She's frozen right now. I don't know what's going on. But one of the things that I want to say is that I think that in this election, we as a people, we need to use wisdom in this election coming up, because if we don't, we're going to pay the price for whatever decisions we make. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a break right here. We're almost at the end, but I'm going to take a break right here and give Mrs. McIntosh the opportunity to come back in, um, into the studio.
This is gonna suck. Biore charcoal cleansers suck out 2 times more dirt, oil, and impurities. That's why Biore charcoal sucks. Better. Biore. Free your pores.
And we're back. It seems as if Mrs. McIntosh got kicked out of the studio. Mrs. McIntosh, if you can hear me, can you just enter back in the means that you came in at the beginning, so that we can see if we can get you sorted out with that. In the meantime, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Bahamas Wholesale Agency, Justin over at Bahamas Wholesale Agency, and the BRA charcoal, rose and quartz charcoal facial cleanser that they're the sponsor of the show with. I want you to know that it's an amazing product, and I love it. I absolutely love it, and I'm having the best time with it. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Roberts, Pedro Roberts over at Commonwealth Drugs and Medical Supply. They are the distributors of the Color Splurge lipsticks, the Black Opal Color Splurge lipstick. My fab fuchsia that I'm wearing today. I love my fab fuchsia, as you guys know. I invite you to go to any of the leading drugstores in the country, and you can pick up any one of these products there. And they're beautiful products, and they cater to women, especially the Black Opal products. They were created by women of color, for women of color. So I think they tend to match our skin. And even so, Black Opal has an amazing line of makeup, and everybody in this country knows about Black Opal. They've gone and upgraded the products over the years, but they were taken over by new owners, and they are making the products better and adding new products for us women. So you can go over to any drugstore, leading drugstore, and you can find your foundation, you can find your cover, you can find the lipsticks, your pencils, the whole nine. I'm going to be doing something special coming up with Black Opal soon, and I'm looking forward to that. Mrs. McIntosh has not gotten back into the studio as yet, so I'm going to continue to speak and hold the fort until she gets here. I would like to ask my social media manager if she can reach out to her, please, and see if you can get her some assistance in getting back into the studio. Because I know sometimes you have a little difficult time doing that. And like she said, she's not that technically savvy, so I'm going to hang out a little bit. I want to say hi to a gentleman by the name of Marcus Evans. I met him over at the cricket club during my birthday, and he was so kind and so gracious to me, and I wanted to say hi to him. I was supposed to have done that from then, and I forgot, so I apologize, sir, and I want to say thank you for being so kind and and reaching out to me. I thank you for that. I also want to take this opportunity, like I was saying earlier, before Mrs. McIntosh went out of the room. You can still send your questions, because even so, we're going to go through some of those questions and some of the statements now that persons had to say. You know, as a country, we know that we have a lot of stuff going on, and we know that our society needs a lot of help, because let me tell you something. We are in a place right now where we need to be cognizant and mindful of everything that we do, because our children's future and our future depend on it, the future of our country. And I'd like to say um, that I believe that we have to pray about the things that we do and think about our children's future, because we right now have to make sure that there's a future for them, because in essence we're on our way out. We're on our way out, so we have to make sure we have a future for them. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take another break, and I'm going to see if I can get Mrs. McIntosh into the studio. Just hold for me a moment. I am going to try and see if I can help her out and get her into the studio. Just hold for me, please. We're going to go to a commercial break right now. I'll be right back.
This is gonna suck. Biore charcoal cleansers suck out 2 times more dirt, oil, and impurities. That's why Biore charcoal sucks. Better. Biore. Free your pores.
I am back, and Mrs. McIntosh is not back in the studios yet, but my nose shines, and this big Eleuthera nose, this cash nose from Eleuthera, Lord can't hide. That was the sidebar, I'm sorry. But we're back, and I am still waiting on Mrs. McIntosh to get the opportunity to come back in the studio so that she can finish her statements, and you can get the opportunity to ask her some questions. And if not, what will happen is I will bring her back on again and give you the opportunity to ask her the questions, because I know we have a question here, several questions, but what we're going to do, we're going to hold those until she gets in so that she can be able to answer them. But what you can do while I'm still here for the next couple of minutes, you can go ahead and just, send a note about how you think, what you think, Mrs. McIntosh, how you feel about the things that she said about us learning the Constitution and having the opportunity to go to an actual course to learn about the Constitution, because I feel like the Constitution is our Bible as a people of this country, and we do not know our rights, and we're taken advantage of in many cases because we do not know our rights. We have to come to the place where we understand that knowing the Constitution and understanding it as best we can is vital to our existence. It's the thing that drives the country, that takes the country where it needs to go, because it was written for us, to protect us. And I believe that when it was put in place at the beginning, that it was to protect us. Has it been adhered to over the years by anybody? I don't think so in a lot of ways. So I think we need to come to understand it so we could better be able to stand and defend ourselves and come to understand who we are and what our rights are. What I'm going to do, we are past the hour. And I normally go over. I have gone over, and I have been waiting to get Mrs. McIntosh back into the studio. What I'm going to do, I am going to do a show with her. Another show. I'm going to invite her on to be able to talk to you about. Talk to you about the Josiah Institute. I know that it is something that has been passionate and on her heart for a long time. What I will do is give her the opportunity to come on for about half an hour later in the week or one day next week so that she could continue on. I would like to take the opportunity to thank all the persons that are on this live that always support Monique, Rose Bevins, Monique Smith, I got Nyoka Hannah, Meglin Alton, all the persons that watch me. While you may not comment, I know that you're there because at the end of the week, the numbers have gone up. So I know you're there. Everybody doesn't like to comment and be seen, but I thank you for watching the show. I appreciate you guys for supporting me. I'm going to be here next Tuesday at 1 p.m. I'm going to have Mrs. Lashley join me again. She has been an amazing guest on the show before, and she's going to be joining me again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to my social media manager just said that Mrs. McIntosh is not going to be able to get back in. So like I said before, what I am going to do is have her come back on, give you guys the opportunity to ask her questions, because I think the political part of it is something that is important for the persons that are watching. Is clear. So I'm going to bring her back on and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And like I said before, this is not a political show. I am a woman that works to get information to women to help them to be better so that they can be whole, to be better mothers, wives, lovers, friends, whatever it is. Because if you're not whole as an individual, you're not whole. You can't play the part you're meant for to play for others. And one of the things that I want us to understand is when I say whole, I'm talking about all aspects of our lives. That's our finances, that's our health, that's our minds, that's our bodies, that's our political decisions, all of it. We have to be whole. And across the board, anybody who wants to come and be a part of this show has the opportunity to do that. This is an open playing field. And I want people to understand that at the end of the day, when you come to the table and you say what you say, people have the right now to make the decisions that they want to make. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. Again, Tuesday at 1 p.m., I'll be here. And I thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. I love you guys. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys. Thank you.